Welcome to Learn to Live Stress-Free. This is Christine Wright with Dr. Robert Wright Jr. of www.stressfreenow.info.
Hi, this is Dr. Bob, the stress and pain relief doctor. This video is to assist anyone who is wrestling with grief and trying to deal with all the issues surrounding grief. And so we're going to do a brief open focus exercise which will help you begin to dissolve your grief. So take a moment now to relax your posture. And when you're ready, please close your eyes. Can you imagine the space inside of your mouth? And as you become aware of that space, is it possible for you to imagine feeling even more deeply into the space inside of your mouth, including the space or spaces in the back of your throat and neck? Can you imagine the space between the fingers of your left hand? And equally and simultaneously, is it possible for you to imagine the distance between the space inside of your mouth and the back of your throat and the space between the fingers of your left hand? Can you imagine that as you inhale naturally, your body begins to fill with space, and equally and simultaneously, is it possible for you to imagine that as you exhale naturally, your body is left filled with space, surrounded by space, permeated by space, right where you are? Can you imagine getting a sense of the space or spaces in which your grief occurs, arises, and exists? And as you become aware of that space or those spaces, can you also imagine getting a sense of the thickness, the width, the breadth, the depth, the color of the space in which your grief exists, occurs, and arises? Can you now imagine approaching the edge of the space or spaces in which your grief exists? And as you do so, is it possible for you to imagine to see or look right into the heart of your grief? And simultaneously, is it possible for you to imagine as you see and look right into the heart of your grief, that is the space or place where your grief is most intense? Can you imagine bathing your attention in your grief, resting your attention fully in your grief, while neither rejecting nor resisting nor encouraging any discomfort, pain, or additional grief that may occur or arise. Can you now imagine bringing your attention right into the heart of your grief? That is that space where your grief is most intense. Holding your attention there, bathing your attention there, without resisting, nor rejecting, nor encouraging your grief. Is it possible now to open your focus of attention to include any remaining grief you may be experiencing? And also, can you imagine the space in which you are sitting or lying? Can you also imagine the smells in the environment where you are? And also, is it possible for you to imagine simultaneously hearing silence and the space in which silence arises, occurs, and exists? Can you imagine repeating this exercise 2 or more times per day? And as you do so, the benefits to your nervous system, to your mind, and to your spirit will magnify and increase with each repetition. And when you're ready, please open your eyes. Now notice how you feel compared to when we started the exercise. Is your grief less, the same, or more? Get a good sense, good feeling sense of how your mind and body has shifted since the beginning of this very short exercise. And remember that with repeated use of open focus, and in this particular case, a grief exercise, that for many people, in a very short space of time, their grief is neutralized and then dissolved. That is, that you can have the memory of the grief without the associated negative emotional experience of painful emotional experience. If you'd like to learn more about how to dissolve grief and the various types of grief, and also how to dissolve chronic pain, anxiety, stress, then consider contacting me using my email at dr.bob, stressrelief@yahoo.com. That's dr.bob, stressrelief@yahoo.com. Or consider going to our website, which is www.stressfreenow.info/contact, and fill out the contact form, and I will get back to you. So this is Dr. Bob, the stress and pain relief doctor, signing off for today. And remember, you don't have to go through life suffering with grief especially after the pandemic. It's been very tough for most of us, but you don't need to needlessly suffer since there are tools which can help you, like open focus. So this is Dr. Bob signing off from stressfreenow.info. Until next time, be safe and be well.